then what we'll do is we'll open up questions later on as we go. I'm going to introduce David to you all in a minute, and it's just basically going to be an open discussion. When you're asking questions, just make sure you let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do. Give us a little bit of your background. That'll help us, lock down exactly what it's appropriate for your situation, and we'll take it from there. So, starting this thing off, I wanted to talk about who Stern Deeds are and who we are, particularly. My name's Nimmers Stern, and I've been in the US for almost 7 years now. I'm an editor by trade. I came out here to try and take the next step, and over that time, I can say that I've worked on some pretty big jobs, and been lucky enough to work on some really exciting projects. I've done some work for NBC. I've worked for Oprah Winfrey. In television, I was able to get quite a nice little body of work together. For most of my time here, I was on what's called an E3 visa. It's a visa just for Australians, and that had restrictions, and that wasn't perfect for my situation, but it got me to a certain point. I always felt like the O1 visa, which is the artist visa, was kind of like the ultimate or the holy grail, if you will. And then once I finally...
All attendees are muted.
Once I finally, got the visa and learnt the process of how to get it, I really wanted to go about trying to help others to get that same visa. It's, in my opinion, the only one that allows you to work as a freelancer. It gives you the capacity to work for different employers and, have a little bit more freedom in that respect. So, I'm based here in New York City. I wanted to now introduce you to Valerie, who is over on the West Coast.
All attendees are unmuted.
And Valerie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry about all that muted stuff. My name's Valerie, and I live over here in the West Coast, about 35 miles from Hollywood. I've had the pleasure of speaking with some of you already. I'm in charge of client service department, and what I basically do is I take your initial phone interview. I get you set up with the lawyers, and I help you, guide you through the process. If you have any questions, I answer them. And I'm just here to help you.
That's great. And I'm now going to bring in Julie Gedge here, sort of our marketing person and social media. Julie, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and explain to people what you do?
Okay, so my name is Julie, and I'm from France. I live in New York for 5 years. I get through a lot of different process with different visas. So now I'm working for Standard because I realize I really want to help people to get the O1 visa. And also if there's French people around here and they need any help to speak French, je parle français, donc so you can ask me anything, and I will be very happy to help you. About any question you have. Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Julie. And so I'll just sort of tell you a little bit about the company, who we are, what we do. Basically, we're a management and production services company. We try and help people on their first steps in the US. We're trying to manage people's visas, as it were, and help them set themselves up down the line so that they can go through the steps and start their careers over here. We do some productions from time to time, but really personnel management is 90% of our business. We facilitate the relocation of individuals from outside the US into this market, and it does take a little bit of time to adjust to what's going on here and how this particular market works. We stage events from time to time. Some of the people on this call might have come from our meetup group. Some people have sort of found us through different marketings in different industry magazines. But, particularly when it comes to networking events and bringing people together, we're trying to match up people of similar skills and get them into the workplace as best we can. I've been doing this now in the US for about 7 years, and I wanted to give you like a little bit of a head start of all the trials and tribulations I've gone through over that time. So just to help you feel like you're not here alone, that you are sort of part of a family of people who are going through the same sort of thing. It really is a network of people that can help move you forward. Now, basically what we do is we sponsor visas for people wanting to come to work here. Most of our people are in the film, the arts, or television industries. So most of what we do is the O1 visa. But, there are a couple of individuals with special cases or with different scenarios, and we can help them sort of get into the market. It really, the whole point of this is people at a certain point in their career wanting to take that next step in the US. I mean, I know I came from Australia, which is a relatively small media market. And, coming over here has enabled me to take that next leap that would have, in my opinion, taken me some time to do back home. So, any way that I can pay that forward and help people get that visa is really what this is all about. So, who do we help? Well, quite simply, it's actors, musicians, film and TV personnel, designers, artists, dancers, graphic designers, performers. But at the end of the day, it's anyone with an extraordinary ability who can, who we can help get this particular visa. Now, on this question of extraordinary abilities, that's what the visa's called. It's the alien of exceptional ability. And being able to argue that case is really the hardest part to getting this. We can talk a little bit more in a moment about the process of getting it, but really what it comes down to is looking at your experience, finding areas where you have a speciality or a desirable skill, and then getting a whole lot of support material to show your skills in that area. So on that note, I now want to introduce our guest speaker for today. David's been grateful enough to give us his time today. He's an attorney at law here in New York City. I've had a few discussions with him. And, we wanted to talk a little bit about building a case for the O1. How do you build the materials you need? And what's the best way to present that? So at this point, I just want to call on David to come on the line there. Can you hear me there, David?
Oh, I hear you beautifully. Can you hear me there?
Yeah, loud and clear, David. So
hello, everybody.
Well, like I say, some people can hear but can't respond. But we've got a healthy little crowd here. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you, Stern. Yes, since 1992, that's when I did my first O1 visa. I began with the poorest, most down and out people in the world from Africa doing political asylum. And within a few months, it transformed to the most talented people in the world. So anyway, so that goes back to 92. And it's very funny because Stern Deed seems to parallel everything I do, because every person you mentioned, Stern, is every aspect is exactly what at least 75% of my law practice is working with artists. And I think because of my background trying to promote myself as an artist in New York when I was a magician in the 80s, I understand how to promote and how to build a case and how to make something that's convincing so that the Immigration Service will approve it. And I don't know why, knock on wood, every single person who's ever come to me who I've accepted to do an O1 visa for has received their O1 visa. Every single person who's come to me has received the approval from U.S. Immigration for the O1 category. And I really attribute to the fact that I understand how to convince an audience, in this case immigration, in a written presentation, that someone is truly outstanding, and that can be through many methods. Immigration Service lists the ways you can prove extraordinary ability, and they even have a catch-all which says anything else that would convince the service. So that allows us to come up with other ideas. And some of the people who have come to me were told, you're too young, you're not experienced enough, but by other attorneys. And somehow by brainstorming with the client, we were able to figure out, well, you may be young, but guess what? You're a young prodigy. And even though you've only been doing photography for a year, I mean, you're already doing photo shoots for Toyota's cars. I mean, that's unbelievable that's like winning an award, that already within a year, you're 22 years old and Toyota selected you amongst, how many thousands of photographers in America or in the world would want to shoot for Toyota, and they chose you. That's kind of like comparable evidence saying that this someone has won an award. They're shooting for one of the most famous car companies in the history of cars.
Okay, so look, let's just take a moment and go through some of the formalities of getting this visa. I'm not exactly sure where our audience is at, but to prove that someone is of exceptional ability or of a very high standard, there's a couple of steps that every applicant must do. So maybe we'll just sort of break that down a little bit, talk about the letters of reference.
Letters of reference is one, but you need three. And really you need more than three. So not just any letter of reference, but a letter of reference that can specifically point to something that you did that was well above average in your area of specialization. So that's one. The other one could be newspaper reviews, magazine reviews, could be website hits, Google hits, that you have such a huge number of Google hits that your photos were published in a book, or you've been quoted in someone else's book, your work has been published in someone else's article, or some other scientist used a paper you wrote for his or her research, or something like that. You got some amazing contract, like you were a comedian and you got $1,000 for a show. Well, that may not seem like millions of dollars, but the average comedian gets about $50 to do stand up in New York, if anything. So if you get $1,000 contract to do stand up, well, that's a prestigious contract. That's much better than average. That's enough to help too. $10,000 would be better, but even $1,000, if you look up what the average comedian makes, you can show that you have earned substantially more than the average. That's another way to show extraordinary ability. Photos could do it. I had a woman who was a Japanese lamp maker, but she made the lamp, including the steel, which she put on a mask and used the heat and the flame and bent the lamp post into a certain beautiful shape. And those photos really helped her win her case, because we didn't really have any reviews, but they were so impressive to see her with the fire, bending, with pictures showing the sequence of how she creates these homemade, beautiful artwork lamps that are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet tall. And so picture's worth 1,000 words if you have some unusual skill. Is that helpful there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, because what I'm saying here is that there are certain boxes you need to tick to qualify for this visa, and I just wanted to sort of make those clear too. I mean, one of my presentation says you need letters of you need letters of recommendation, you need deal memos from people planning to hire you, and then you need letters from the local labor organization too. They're the sort of the basics, yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. But like I say, even with those, you're not going to win your case if you don't have those are going to help you win your case. Those are some details to finish up to show where you're going to be working, and that the labor union doesn't object and even supports you. That's a good thing. But And those are definitely important aspects that you need an outside letter, not just from a friend or colleague, but from a peer association or union if it exists in your field. And these unions and associations, a lot of times they want to review your entire application. And they charge, $200 to $300 to write the letter. Unless you're like, certain areas don't have unions, so you don't have to, you can even join an association and, maybe they'll do the letter for you for free. But, that is the final pieces, the letters about the deal memos, which shows that you've got upcoming work, and a letter from a union or association, but you still have to prove your extraordinary ability, eh?
That's with your evidence. That's with articles and with awards and things like that. You think that is the strongest evidence for your case?
If you have awards and you can confirm that those awards have significance, like, if you've got an award in third grade, that may not do it. But if you're a dancer, and I say to my dancers, do you have trophies from when you were small? Do you have a room where your mom saved all your trophies? Take a photograph with you and all your trophies and every pin and every certificate and everything you ever won. So we can show you've been winning awards since you were 3 years old all the way up till you're 19, even if it wasn't a big national award and it was only the award from your city, So, it's a picture tells 1,000 words, because this is not science. This is a judgment call. You have to create an impression. So sometimes people have come to me and they've lost their case with their lawyer, or for whatever reason, whether it's their fault or their lawyer's fault, we don't have to go there. But I say, what did you send them? And, they sent a very sloppy, not very pretty thing, and they're supposed to be an artist or a graphic designer. If you're someone who's in the visual arts, you better send something that's visually stunning to immigration. You have an opportunity there you're a visual artist, you have an opportunity to show them something beautiful, then don't miss out on that opportunity. If you're a mathematician, it's not going to look pretty, but, or a biologist, even a biologist, you can show some stunning photos of the Australian frog mating, whatever, I don't know, because you're an expert in the photography of frogs and their mating rituals. I don't know. Making stuff up. But the point is, these examiners have maybe 20 minutes to look at your case. And they're very overworked. They're given lots and lots of cases to work on. They're government employees. They're not getting paid any more or any less to approve or disapprove your case. So you just want to make them feel good about approving you.
A gentleman would like to ask a question. Can he go ahead and ask the lawyer a question, or?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you're from.
Matthews, can you hear me?
Go again. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Athias. I'm from New York City, and I have a question. Since you mentioned trophies and medals for dancing, I'm a dancer, but I'm applying for one as an actor, but I have tons and tons of trophies and medals from dancing. Would that help me out at all, or no?
We've had overlapping cases like that, especially the opposite, where the dancer winds up in a movie and he's also got a speaking role, but, we have to say that he's primarily there for dancing. You can't just get an O1 visa as an extraordinary actor if all you've done is dance. But let's say you're an actor who's known for your movement, not for your vocal ability, but for the way you move on stage. And there's some reviews that talk about the way you move on stage. And you could attribute that also to your dancing. Well, maybe there's a way to tie that in. Got some success to point to. Just having the best teacher is not in of itself enough, unless the teacher also is going to say that they've got you in mind for some special roles to play in actual paid, in actual shows that are going to be shown to the public, not just for students. You see what I'm saying there? So I think you should look up H3, 24-month training visa.
To work on that as well.
Yep. Well, you don't. It's called work study, but everybody winds up working on it.
That might buy you some more time, yeah, and that gets you more experience to then come through. Yeah, H3.
Right, and then if you make it, you can do the O1 later. Sometimes you have to look at other ways to stay and build your career. O1 is, of course, like Stern said, the best one for the artist extraordinaire who wants to freelance.
I think what you're trying to say here, and this is a common one, is you just want to buy yourself some time sometimes, just to come out here and get a network of people, get in touch with more, professional contacts as opposed to the academic world. These are all people that you can draw on when you're trying to make that push for that big case. Now we did get a couple of. We got a question over the web here. We've got Sunil from Australia. Now, I just want to give him the chance to try and talk in case he's there. He did email the question through. Looks like his line's muted. So star six to unmute yourself if you can hear us there, Sunil.
Star six?
Yeah, star six. I still see he's muted here, so I'm going to go ahead and read his question. Now, Sunil is a TV commercial director in Australia. His question is about the reference letters. Oh, Sunil, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just unmuted now.
Oh, perfect, mate. How's it going? Now, look, I can sort of hear you, but it's breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure that you have the fastest connection there. Just go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm basically a television commercial director. My job is basically I direct TV commercials and viral videos for production houses, for ad agencies and stuff like that. I do it in Australia and in Asia. My question to you is, the reference letters, do they need to be from somebody important, like someone like an executive creative director from Ogilvy or an executive producer from a production house? Will that help my case?
It's obviously, I think it's obvious that you don't, it's like if you were a model, you wouldn't want a letter from your mom or your grandmother saying, "Isn't he handsome? Isn't he the most gorgeous?" So you want it from you want letters from the most prestigious people that you can get your hands on.
So I think the answer is yes. What you're saying there, those kind of Ogilvy people, all these executives and whatnot, I think those titles really do speak volumes for you. Now, I think you're about to ask me how many do you need?
Yeah, and remember, it's not just who is writing the letter; it's what the letter says.
Absolutely, and the depending on who you work with, if you take on a lawyer, they'll help you craft those letters so that they are hitting all those important points that you want to hit. But look, we advise people to go for between 12 and 15 letters. 10's kind of the minimum, but it really is about quality over quantity. You want to make sure that they're saying that you are the top in your field, that you've worked with them before, that you have brought, and you want to bring examples of different projects you've done together. He was great on such and such campaign, which, boosted sales by X amount. The more nitty gritty you can build into those letters, that is really a very, very strong.
Can I ask a question? Stern, did you do your O1 visa by yourself? Because I have to say, you really are. Believe me, I've heard plenty of involved in plenty of discussions on this, and you speak like someone who really knows his stuff. So I would say this guy's really good, folks.
No, it's just from you learn this stuff. I actually did go through a lawyer, but this visa thing, particularly talking to all our prospective candidates and clients through the business, you do start to hone in on the language of exactly what these people are looking for and how best to present yourself. Now, we spoke to Sunil a few months ago back in Australia. Do you just want to give us a little bit of update on your situation there?
Yeah, well, I started out in television in Australia, and then I started directing commercials. for the last 8 years. I've been doing it in a lot of countries, and I'm in Singapore right now, just finishing a job. So I mean, I want to go.
Internationally known.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
And so you see the US as the next step in your career evolution?
Yeah. I have also like an agent and not a direct agent that asked me to go there and stuff like that for 3 months or to 1 year and to meet people and things like that. So I just need to know because I want to do it properly. I want to go there with everything proper, and I can get the letters, no problem. Does it help to get letters from just one country, or do you want letters from many countries?
Well, look, if you've got anyone in the US, that's a good sign. If you've got contacts over here, I mean, most people are going to get letters from people in the countries that they would be working in. But the benefit for you is they're all going to be in English, so you won't need to get any of those translated. But if you've got multinational companies, I mean, when they're reading these letters, if they can connect to any name on there or a production that you've worked with, that all really helps them. If the more obscure they are, they need to be provided with more evidence to understand what they're talking about. But from what we've seen with you, it looks like you've got a really strong case for this. And
Yeah, and also with the contracts, so I'll start saving on my contracts. So if like I was listening before, I said if you have contracts with a high dollar value, it must help, right?
Yes. Well, that's another way of proving you're exceptional, David. Why don't you sort of hit on this point?
I can just say yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, because one of the criteria of proving that you're exceptional is that you're getting paid a high wage. And if we can compare what you're earning compared to what the average person in that profession here is earning, then we can say, yes, this person is exceptional. That's one factor to prove that you're exceptional.
Right. I just want to throw in something. I've had artists. I remember immigration once sent me a request for evidence saying, this person's contracts are only for a small amount of money. They're not so great. And, we were not arguing that they had a high salary. They don't have to have a high salary. And in this case, it was a printmaker, making their own print designs, these very kind of, artistic, artsy things. And I wrote back to immigration and said, I can make a much better hamburger than McDonald's, but I'm never going to make as much money as McDonald's. It's an art. And thank goodness the criteria don't require high salary. We can use high salary as an argument, but we don't have to. So for those of you who don't make a high salary, don't think you need to. You don't.
Exactly. It's exactly what he's saying, that not everyone's measure of success is the money they make. Now, if you happen to make good money, use it in your case. But
exactly.
That's one of several ways of proving that. So yeah, that's really good. And
how many contracts would this person need? Like say 3 or 4 or 5 or something?
Sorry, say that again.
How many contracts would you need? Because my contract only lasts for like.
There's no magic number.
A TV commercial only lasts for 2 to 3 weeks, and you get paid whatever, like $5,000-$10,000 for that 2 week, 3 week period. How many of those contracts would you need for that?
Well, it depends what you're trying to prove. Are you trying to prove that in that one contract you got paid more than most other people get for TV? Or are you trying to prove that you're so popular, you're getting lots of contracts from all over the world, different countries in Asia and Australia? You see, you can use the contracts also not just, if you're using volume of contracts, that might just be volume of prestigious contracts, whereas one contract at high salary or 2 or 3 could be enough to show extraordinary ability. But on the other hand, using contracts from all over the world can also be used to show that you're popular all over the world.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's two parts to this, Sunil. There's the evidence to prove that you're exceptional, and that you can take old contracts to prove. But I think what you might be referring to is the deal memos and the letters of intent from US companies stipulating how long they plan to engage you for. And yeah, what you're saying there is if you're only doing a 3-day commercial, how can you get a 3-year visa? So,
correct.
In that case, what we'd do is we'd go to that company and say, we hope to employ Sunil for multiple contracts over the next 3 years at a certain rate, right? And this is just a letter of intent that they're not obligated to do it. But you would want to get, we recommend 3 to 4 of those letters of intent or deal memos from companies here. Now, if you don't have that set up just yet, there are ways to contact people and show them the work that you've done to say, hey, in the event that I get a visa, would you be interested in hiring me? Or if you are planning to come here beforehand and make those personal connections, that's where, a coffee or, meeting someone personally can go a long way. Saying, hey, look, I like what you're doing. If you become legal, I would love to work with you. That's where you can sort of get some of those together as well.
Okay, and just with the O1 visa, does that, if I'm lucky enough to get one, does that mean I have to stay in America for the entire period, or can I fly out and fly back in?
You are free to travel as long as you have a visa, an O1 visa in your passport. They would not take away your freedom to travel. But you have to have the visa stamped in your passport. There's 2 things. There's the permission to work in the U.S., and then there's the visa that gets stamped into your passport. Okay. And you use that for traveling back into the United States.
Okay, great. I'll still want to keep listening to other questions, so I'll just mute myself so other people can talk. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Sunil. So okay, let's throw it over to Valerie here. She's got a question from Emily Moody.
Yes. We have a question from Bobby Lee from Australia. She wants to know, with a graduate visa, do you need to work in the same field as your degree? Her degree is a master's in screen production, but she wants to work as an actor and in casting. She has a degree in music theater and a degree in film and television. She also has a grad visa. Does it still work with a grad certificate? Can I work as a freelancer on a grad visa? I am also looking to study or get a scholarship. Hello?
She's got what's going on there. Okay, Dave, did you hear that question?
I sure did, and it's some specific questions there that we can't necessarily answer over the phone, but for sure I can tell her this. When it comes to any visa, it has to be, almost all of them are equated to your area of either extraordinary ability for the O1, or for, let's say, the E3, it's connected to your education, or perhaps your education and work experience combined. In this case, I believe the person said that she wants to work in an area that is not related to her major. And for the E3 visa, you want to show that you're going to be working primarily in the area that's connected to your major, and perhaps you can have some extra duties that go a little beyond that. But that's how you got it. That's how you get through the door.
Okay, so she's got written here, she's got a BA in music theatre, a - actor, singer, dancer. I was trained as an actor.
Yeah, she's got the bachelor's in film and TV, which could allow her to work as a film production specialist, we call it, where she can be kind of a producer or a producer's assistant. But having a degree does not make you an extraordinary actor.
Okay. So,
okay.
You don't need a degree to be an extraordinary actor, by the way. You don't need a degree for that even.
I'm constantly in films, but
they
are
in. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. We all see it there. Yeah. So look, I think it's going to come down to the kind of jobs that she's worked on there. But I think her question is the relating to multiple different areas. Reviewing Aussie. Okay, so she's written. So she's got a whole range of different experiences, and she wants to really focus in there on which one of those is her strongest one. I think that's what's going to make her application the strongest. Okay, so let's just see if there's anybody else on the line who we haven't had a chance to hear from. I do see Elena on the line. It looks like she's on a cell phone or something. Val, have we received any more questions there by email?
Yes. Yes. Sonny Thomas has another one. He says, I'm currently a TV commercial director, but before that, I was a promo producer for TV in Australia. My question is if I apply for the O1 as a commercial director, am I allowed to work as a promo producer in the U.S.? A promo producer makes trailers, TV trailers, it edits, writing, and a bit of directing.
Well, we do sometimes have cases called multimedia artists. And you could have a producer/director who's producing and directing their own work, but they're going to need to show extraordinary ability both as a producer and a director, that they have jobs that require them to be both a producer and director, and they're going to have to get consultation letters from the Producer Guild and the Directors Guild. But it's possible. Yep.
Yeah, look, there is, in the practicality of what he's doing here, there is a lot of overlap there. You know, I think in Sunil's case, I think it's also important to consult the union here because, you know, particularly the high budget commercials are going to be union. What you actually find is that the promo jobs are non-union. That's the way of production sort of saving a little bit of money there. So I think it would be prudent in his case for him to, again, and it also depends on, you know, if it's the East Coast Union or the West Coast Union. You know, a lot of people moving here from other countries are going to have to wait out a certain amount of time before they qualify to work in the union. Each one does it differently, the way they elect members. And again, I know actors, sometimes if you're on a production that's non-union that becomes union, that's a way of qualifying. So, you know, I think that's an important part of his research there is exactly which union do these skills fall under, and then, you know, getting the appropriate letters to support that.
The other thing is he could have two O1s simultaneously. He could have an O1 with the same agent, or he could, you know, two different applications. He can have an O1 as a producer with company A and an O1 as a singer in company B. You could actually have more than one talent in case they don't overlap, in case they are two separate things. Yep.
That's the thing. So, you know, it's exciting because you're getting to the opportunity and there's a much greater volume. But, you know, it does take time to build that network up, and we can definitely help you with all the contacts we have and to try and accelerate that process as best you can. But, you know, we definitely let all our clients know that there is an adjustment period and, you know, that they should be prepared for that. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's the thing. So, you know, it's exciting because you're getting to the opportunity and there's a much greater volume. But, you know, it does take time to build that network up, and we can definitely help you with all the contacts we have and to try and accelerate that process as best you can. But, you know, we definitely let all our clients know that there is an adjustment period and, you know, that they should be prepared for that. Absolutely.
And that's why you need a great manager like Stern, which I can see is so knowledgeable and so open to helping people, because just you got your O1 visa, okay, or I got my green card, but now what do I do?
And that's part of the well, this is it. You're part of a family of people who are all going through the same thing. And, you know, as all the people that you meet on your way up, they're all people that can help you down the line. And so, you know, when we're throwing a networking event like we're going to be doing midway through July, I mean, that's a personal introduction to people that, you know, may take a couple of years to get, or people in, you know, significant places. Now, you know, we don't guarantee that we'll be able to find you work the entire time, but we will, you know, be there to support you to help you make that transition. And, yeah, that's the difference between doing it alone and, you know, doing it, you know, through someone like us. So, look, we've got Mary, who's just come on the line here from Brooklyn. Mary, can you hear us all right?
Bobby has a quick question. She would like to know how much is a consultation with David and if he's available immediately.
Oh my God, no, I'm going to go to bed.
So yeah, I think those in Australia, what we'll have you do there, Bobby, is if you just send us your email, which you've already done, we'll send an introductory email to both you and David, so you guys can start the process. From what we discussed earlier, David, I correct me if I'm wrong here, but normally a consultation with David would be about $250. For people who attend this and everyone who we introduce to, he's going to take $100 off. So it'll be $150 for a consultation with him sometime in the next week or so.
It's true.
Okay, so I haven't let anyone on there. Now, I know some of the people who've asked questions have follow-ups. We're kind of getting to the end of our time here. We're going to probably wrap this up in about another 5-10 minutes. I just want to give Maria, who just jumped on the line, I'm not sure if you can hear us or we can hear you. If you could just sort of speak up so we can just test the line.
Can you hear me?
Yes, got you there, Maria.
I'm sorry. I got so late out of work.
Oh, no harm, Dud. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am an actress. I've been in New York for 3 years. And I'm on my way to finish my OPT right now at the end of August. And I'm just looking to start my process with an artist visa.
And where are you from?
I'm from Venezuela.
Okay. And just tell us a little bit about your work experience and background there.
I did 5 years of theater in Venezuela, and coming to the U.S., I've done around 3 commercials for TV. I have a TV show in Manhattan Neighborhood Network. It's a channel for Manhattan. I'm the host of the show. I've done several plays and musicals here. I am working on flash mobs around the city for the summer, and some industrials too, and yeah.
Wow, sounds like you've been really busy and, not taking a minute off. I definitely like the sound of that.
Don't worry, it's just basically I'm not worried, but I just would like to hear from someone that works on this to tell me once he sees my work where I'm at, I feel like I'm in a good place, but I just need someone to tell me, listen, you should wait and get some more work before you submit, or you're ready, or we should get started. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, so it sounds like you need a one-on-one consultation there. Did you send us your resume?
I did.
Okay, so and what we'll do is we'll send you David's information, and when we send it through, we'll add your resume, and we also have an in-house little questionnaire that we ask everyone just about what they're hoping to do, and if they've got some people in mind who they could ask these letters for. It's when we send these questionnaires out, it's not you don't have to list every single person you're going to approach, but just to get the process going of, okay, I need to start approaching people and thinking about the people you'd like to ask. It's a very common story what you're sort of saying to us, that you've sort of made a start here, you feel like you've got some great traction and you want to keep it going. What we were sort of saying earlier in the call is that we really want to focus in on what your speciality is and what makes you sort of stand out from the crowd and try and emphasize that. So, look, we're probably going to wrap this thing up. I realize that you sort of got out of work a little bit late here, but we definitely want to keep a conversation going on with you and everybody else who was a part of this call, and the fact that you're in New York and we're sort of based out of here, it gives us every opportunity to.
Where are you based? Sorry, I have no idea.
Oh, sorry. Our office is in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. It's over there on Kent Avenue, and we've got people who work remotely, and there's a whole back team there, so we can help you out there.
We also recorded the webinar, so.
So yeah, we're going to be posting that up as well here. Now, you can we have a couple of different ways for you to reach us. We've got our our website up and running. That's still in its early stages, I could say. We're actually in the process of redesigning that and making that a little bit more interactive. But you can always go in there and fill out our contact us form. Attach a copy of your resume or CV or any other portfolio you may have, and we can definitely have a look at all that. Best place to email us there is at sterndeeds, info@sterndeeds.com. Valerie will get that, and we generally get back to people within about 24 hours. Now, we also have a Facebook group, so we try and keep people up to date there. We'll just sort of post things from time to time. We've produced 2 videos on YouTube channel. One of them is about like the process of getting the O1. That might sort of vary a little bit, but the big part is about the letters of reference, the deal memos, the evidence, and the letters from labor organizations, and what they're supposed to look like and what have you. So feel free to check that out. And some of the people came to this meeting through our meetup group, and we really like that one because we get a chance to meet people in person. We get to spend a little bit of time there. And say midway through July, where we've got a networking event down here on the Lower East Side, and that's going to be a fantastic opportunity to get people together, get people in touch with other firms, people that you might want to set up secondary meetings with, and I think people, once they have a drink in their hand and they're a little bit looser, it's different from a business meeting or a cold call during the day. If they like you and they want to set up a meeting, these are people who you can potentially approach for deal memos or, some sort of a discussion about potentially getting work once you get the visa. That's the hardest thing I've found so far for people outside the US, that, they can get the letters together okay, and, they can get enough evidence and whatnot, but trying to get some sort of a promise of work or some sort of intention to hire them is kind of tricky. Now, we can sort of help you out as best we can here with our contacts and the people we know, but, as best as we can, we wanted to make those documents, honest representations of people who, if you get the visa, will hire you. Now, it's not a legally binding document. It doesn't definitely mean they have to employ you, or it's no guarantee that they will employ you. But as far as your application for this visa goes, it is a necessary part of putting together some sort of itinerary of activities here. And, that's a big part of what we do as the management, is make sure that as you're going through your time here in the US, we're doing everything by the book. We're reporting everything that you're doing, so that when it comes time to renew or time to make a green card application or whatever it is down the line, you're all set up perfectly to either reapply or apply for something else. So basically on that note, I'll thank David for being our expert today and giving us his professional opinion. David, do you have any sort of final words here you wanted to add here?
I just wanted to thank you for your invitation to me. I want to thank the people who have called in and they had some real good questions. It's amazing what we can do with technology today. It's almost like we have our own international radio show. It's pretty cool. And it is. It really is. And I think your knowledge is, I've been doing this since, like I said, 92. I don't think I've ever met anyone like you. When I first heard that you're on your own O1 and that you're an editor, I was a little bit skeptical when you told me about what you do. But I can see you really know your stuff. You really want to help people. And you have a lot of really good suggestions. And I think you're doing a really good service.
Well, thank you very much. And, I do appreciate you giving us your time. The standard response from immigration lawyers in New York is, come in here, let's have a meeting, cough up the cash. But, you've been kind enough to donate your time to this group. And I on behalf of everyone who's on the call, I want to thank you for, lending us your expertise. Anybody does want to talk to David, we'd love to put you in touch. Again, info@sterndeeds.com. And, thanks very much for being a part of this, guys. We'll definitely keep you in touch next time we do this. hopefully in a month or two we can hit on another topic here and try and get some more people informed about this visa.